What we're up to over here is by Maftir. So the next Siman, actually the next two Simanim, I'm just going to discuss the different. We know there's different in Hogam with the Haftarahs. There's a lot of times where it says the whole Haftarah, then kan Messiah Masradim or kan Maschila Masradim. Like this Shabbos, it was a long Haftarah, but you didn't say the whole long Haftarah. You just said a piece of it, So there's different in Hogam, and so over here he says, "B'Shabbos shtei parshas mechubaros." In the Shabbos we have 2 weeks, two parshas together. Maftirin b'Haftarah shel parsha shniya. Usually the Haftarah is the replacement of the Kriyas HaTorah. So I don't know if there's an Haftarah that has both parshas in it. So we go with what we're Messiahing. The reason may be because we give the one who's going to say the Haftarah gets mafta, and the mafta reads a piece of the second parsha, not the first parsha. So that may be the reason. Levad v'achrei kedoshim. That means achrei mois and kedoshim. Ki shehem mechubaros, when they're together. She'oz maftirin alei kibnei kishuyim b'ktzas chomroshim nishmo v'parshas v'yitzchak Haftarah. This is another thing. V'yivrach Yaakov. There's a question about this week at parshas v'yitzchak. So the question, what will be the Haftarah? So he says, someplace it says that you say v'yivrach Yaakov b'toyis, and it's a toyis. Ki Haftarah zu shayachas parshas v'yitzay. This belongs to parshas v'yitzay. And v'yishrach hi chazoyner v'jo. It's different in Hogam about this. This Shabbos, Rabbi Barnett, this week he has Yortzeit. He had Maftir. So I told him to stay here. Can we say something about Maftir? So say something about Maftir. There's a din in Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. Very interesting din. It's not practiced. It's not a din that's practiced. But the Alter Rebbe says as follows in Siman Nun Gimel. He says in Siman Nun Gimel, Yesh lum tzchus. You could say a tzchus on mekaymis, that there are places shenoigin shakatanim yardim uvnei ateva, that a boy that's not bar mitzvah goes to the amid. In our shul, we try to send the boy that's not bar mitzvah to say to Psukkah de Zimra. But there's other shuls that don't want to do that. Other shuls they say no, it's not covered at Siba to send over a boy. My policy is that it's covered at Siba to train a boy, and then he wouldn't be afraid of going to the Amid. I say, to get someone to go to the Amid is not an easy task, So, but the boy already got used to it. He already overcame the fear, so he'll go. But now the Rebbe is not talking over here about what we're talking about in our shul. Now listen to this in. Shakatanim yardim of near table is palo when Avris the Mitzvah Shabbos. Yeah?
What's the video?
Mitzvah Shabbos, usually people are always in a rush, not to extend and right away some people have to run to get a cigarette, they have no time. So in Shulchan Aruch said there was a minig that they sent over a boy on the bar mitzvah to daven ma'ariv. Herem Meister. Now he says as follows: Lefi, the Alter Rebbe says, how do you send a boy to the Amid? He says Lefi she'ein mitziim es harabim yidei chavasim. Because with ma'ariv, there's no shmones, there's no chazos ashad. Sharei einem mazirim es atfilah. Rak she'ayim bochu v'kadish. That's the only thing. So not so terrible. You can send the boy. Then he says, "Ubamkayim shoy noga kain, ein lekoten laber ufnei ateva, afilu b'tfilas avos, mishum bochu shabo." Okay, that's one thing. Then he goes on to say, it's an interesting sip over here. He says, I'm not going to go into the detail. Yifras al Shema, that means to be mighty people with Shema. There was a whole seder how they did it. Gumi shaloi shama bachu b'shachris ve'ein bachu shel tefillah shachris ve'avos doimel bachu shel kriyas hatayra shakotten yachol la'omer giva and riyat hakotten v'fi she'eina chayva kol kach ela ala oila lukas b'tayra avu elu heim chayva. The other bachu is a chayva, so he can't send over kotten. Okay. Then he goes on to talk about Friday night. We once spoke about this already. About Friday night, there's many people when there's a bar mitzvah, so they mechaber the boy to daven to be the chazan by the tefillah, but many times it's not tzeisek achavim yet. They start Shabbos earlier. So he says over here that you can't do that because he's a cotton. He said, Shabbos already started. He said, but the Shabbos doesn't make him a gadol. The Kedusha of Shabbos started, but it doesn't make him a gadol. Then he goes on to explain, and this interesting thing, we always say 13 years in a day. What does it mean 13 years in a day? So some people say that has to be 13 years plus a day. So the Rebbe says no. He says as soon as the boy becomes 13, so right away he's going into the next day already of the 14th year. And so that's how he count. It's considered bar mitzvah as soon as it comes Seisek Achavim of day 13. So he finished his 13th year and he's going into the 14th year. Okay. Yes, we have the Shaila. What does Al Rebbe mean? Why does the cotton go Mitzvah Shabbos? Because l'chayre, if he can go Mitzvah Shabbos, then he can go any night. Right. You're excluding Friday night if it's the bar mitzvah, if he's not bar mitzvah yet. Okay, that but Vice says that as otherwise he can't go. So why not? So what does it got to do with what we're going in now? Why am I talking about this now? Okay. So I found in a sefer called Nefesh Chaya. Nefesh Chaya is a sefer that was made in Eretz Yisrael. There was a yid, a big Talmud Chacham. His name was Rabbi Bogomilsky. Rabbi Bogomilsky wrote a lot of letters between him and the Rebbe liked him very much because he was an exceptional baki and a librarian. And he made a sefer also. He made a sefer on Sanhedrin. He gave out a sefer from Yehuda Chassid. He gave out. There's a sefer called Shaus Teshuvos Min HaShamayim, and Haru Babich Lo Shaus Teshuvos Min HaShamayim. Huh? Because over there was a meister with a psacholim on Yotes Kislev, and he gave out the sefer. Shaus Teshuvos Min HaShamayim with Hagoyes to it, and he made a sefer Nefesh Chaya. So he discusses over here why is it that they talk about the going Mitzvah Shabbos and not going Friday night and not going another night. It said Yesh Lu Mitzchus al Mekayim Shenagin Shakatanim Yodem of Nei Tevu Spal Abbas. Not on a Tuesday night, not on a Wednesday night, on a Mitzvah Shabbos. Why Mitzvah Shabbos? So he brings up a very interesting thing. He says, because the minig in many places is that if someone has yortzeit, he gets mafter. The question is, why does a yortzeit get mafter? I'll add to this also. In Lubavitch, the Rebbe writes in the Sefer Menhogim that if you can't give all 7 if there's more than one yortzeit, you can't make 2 aftaitis. But we go to the extent that we make another kriya, a separate kriya to accommodate if we have a bakayda, to accommodate the person. What's the inyan of mafter? So in Lubavitch Zakman, that the Rebbe gets maftir. I mean, that we know, that the Rebbe gets maftir. Derech Agav, just to tone down a little bit, there was once a Yid that moved into a neighborhood. So he used to come to shul. So the people would help him out a little bit. They needed parnasa, So one day the Gabbai comes over to him and says to him, I have a big problem with you. He says, what's the problem? He says, when I come to Kriyas HaTorah and I have to give aliyahs, I don't know what aliyah to give you. Are you a Rav or are you a Rebbe? If you're a Rav, I got to give you Shishi. If you're a Rebbe, I got to give you Mafta. What are you? So he said, ich weiß was. Ich bin Meuchel de Shishi, ich bin Meuchel de Mafta, gib mir ein Sofa besser. Another few dollars. Okay, but getting back over here, why does a Mafta have, what's the Inyan of Mafta? So he brings over here an interesting thing. I'll read it over here. And he says that שהמיnig רבס למפטר בשבש שלפני שבוע שבו יום דאשקפתא של אבייסו. Ashkafta means the passing of his parents. And he says, I am Birka Yosef. Birka Yosef was written by the Chidah. And he said, it says on a סימן over here, but I have a Birka Yosef. I couldn't find that. There might be a printing mistake over it. Maybe I didn't look so thoroughly. And he says, the Chidah says this, Sheis Alis HaNeshama. The Neshama goes in a liyah, goes up a level. Mi madrega gemadrega. Adi shana b'shana means each and every year. He b'Shabbos shelifnei shavua shabo yom adishkafta. It's on the Shabbos that's before the Yosef. And he says, I am the Sefer HaGilgulim, Mei Harav Chaim Vital, V'oz Naichalei L'nafshei, the neshama of the nifta feels good. Kishayala Habein Li Hamafter, when the son has a mafter, V'yivorech, and he makes a bracha, Sur Kol Elamim, Tzadik B'chol Adairis, Shezehu Me'ein Tzidek Hadin. It's sort of a Tzidek Hadin. So that's the. So now he says, "Is like דיני." This he quotes. He has like in the middle. He has it like in a small print. That's why I had trouble reading it. דיני, he says, "Gadol she'oilu l'mafter." A gadol that goes up to mafter, mispalel musaf. In Lubavitch, it's not very popular, right. But in the Veld, it's a known thing that you get mafter and you go to musaf. And Avo Haim Gam Ketanim Oilum Mafter. A cotton could have mafter. In many shuls, even when it comes to the week of a bar mitzvah, you make the bar mitzvah the Shabbos before he becomes 13, and you give him mafter. In the Lubavitch, you don't give. The first aliyah is a Monday or a mincha, Raiva the Raivan, but in the Veld is the mafter goes to the cotton. So b'meila he says, "Avo hein gam ketanim oilum mafter," and b'meila. The Eden Mafterai, he brings the Gemara Megillah. In Hegel, so therefore they made a minig, Sheyispalo HaYosem b'Motzei Shabbos. Why instead of the Musaf? You say that Motzei Shabbos already the next day, it's not Shabbos. He said because Alderech like a bonus. The Alayla Halakas Acher Hayim Lashlama So that's a Indian.
Musaf is all about Kabbalas.
Musaf is Kabbalas, and the Maftir by Kabbalah goes the night follows the day. Yeah. So it's like a hemshech of the Musaf, and the Musaf he couldn't daven Musaf, so therefore he makes it up with davening Ma'ariv that night. Interesting.
But a lot of people who have Yortzeit of the week of the Yortzeit, they daven Takamat Shabbos Ma'ariv also.
Okay.
Maybe that's a continuation
because
of this.
They didn't have Musaf.
Maybe.
That could be. So I figured that was a interesting thing to.
Okay.
That's one thing he says over here, and Derech Hagav he says another thing. Oid yesh loimer, shemoka haminig, she'ispalo hakotten lefnei hateva b'mitzvah Shabbos, gan mevad b'Shabbos shofnei yemei de'eshkafta, nikva b'chol yud beis chodesh or avelis. He says there's another minhag that the cotton davens not after Mitzvah Shabbos of the avelis of the Yosef, but every time. And he brings up, so he doesn't bring up arichas. He said al derech hamaz vitri say the Mitzvah Shabbos umuva beramo yeridayim sha'avam mispal b'Mitzvah Shabbos v'nei hateva. That because don't say the time is it goes the neshama goes back to the Gan Eden, the Gehenna rests on Shabbos and goes back Mitzvah Shabbos. So that's why there's an union of the Shet Shul order that davening before the Yom is choshever than Kaddish even. So that's why does it Mitzvah Shabbos. Rochli Noig and Gamma Yisrael Maktanim is part Mitzvah Shabbos. So that means it's not only this Mitzvah Shabbos, but it's Shabbos throughout the entire year. Okay, all right. We figured Shabbos on Maria. Let's just see. Okay, we have some time yet. Now it says in Siv Zayin, Reish Chodesh Shechalgiyas b'Shabbos. If a Chodesh comes out on Shabbos, so then you have two Haftarahs. Normally on Shabbos Haftarah are Shema and Kissi, and you have the Haftarah of the week. So which one do you say? So he says Maftir and Shema and Kissi. We don't do it that way. We do we do it. The Chanukah is okay. V'im Tor v'Korah Haftarah Shapasha Shavua. Im Adayim Ha'em Brachas Achraynis. If you didn't say the brachas after Haftarah, Yom Megam Shemaim Kissi, v'Yivarech Achakach.
The whole thing or just the pasuk?
No, the whole thing.
For here, Mashma, the whole thing. By us, v'Imroi Niska Ad V'Achar HaBrachas, Yom Shemaim Kissi B'Loi Brachas.
That's also the whole thing.
V'Im Chodesh Chodesh Be'echad B'Shabbos. So Maftirim Mocha Chodesh. You have the Torah Mocha Chodesh. V'yim Tor Dina Kamei B'Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. They're just like we just said before. Chal Rosh Chodesh B'Shabbos U'B'Yom Rishon. If you have both, so then Maftirim Shema and Kissi, and we add the first and last pasuk of Mocha Chodesh. B'Shabbos Chol Moed Pesach, Ein Maftirin B'Bracha Haftarah Shel Pesach, Loi Be'emsa V'Loi B'Chasima, Al Mesayim Mekadosh HaShabbos, Ava B'Chayla Shel Sukkos, Kivin Shoyim Halal Shalom, V'Gam Chol B'Karbonos. On Pesach, we say only the first 2 days we say Gans Halal. But maybe so Chol Moed is really not so much Yontif. Mashenkin Sukkos is we say Halal the whole Yontif, and one of the reasons is because there were different Karbonos. Every day was a different side of the Karbonos. So Maskid and Kamoy B'Yontif Shal Sukkos Shechal B'Shabbos. So over there, even though it's
Shabbos,
it's Shabbos Chol Moed, but we mention also Sukkot. Now he talks about what I said before about a cotton. So he said, cotton she'egia lechinuch, she'yedei l'mi mevachim. Yedei l'mi mevachim means that he's of a certain age already. It doesn't mean that he's 3 years old. It means, in Shulchan they said that it means 6 and up. It's called Misha Vachim. V'yadeya lachtech es ha'oisius b'tov, and he knows to say, he knows the Ivra, to be able to say the Ivra. Oilu mafta b'Shabbos u'b'Yontov. So he can get mafta, because mafta is an addition. It's only a meaning that we're reading it now because, like I said, because there was a time when they couldn't have the Kriyas HaTorah, so mafta was used as a replacement. But today we have Kriyas HaTorah, so the whole mafta is extra. So being that the mafta is extra, so you can give it a cotton also. Milvad, the Parsha Zocha, or the Parsha Spara, and the Rebbe Paskin is different. Ubeshabbos Shuva, v'chein b'yom Shvi shel Pesach, shemaftirin hashira, noigin she'ein kot noigin mafta. This is the popular halacha, but I tell you, our minhag is different. V'chein b'yom Rishon d'Shvuos, shemaftirin b'makavod Yecheskel, and makavod Yecheskel is a thing that you only teach it to certain people that are of a certain madrega. It's a Seidistic thing about the vision of the chariot that Yecheskel saw. Noigen lukas dafka godol v'chacham. V'chein v'Shabbos chazon noigen lifta es harav v'mafta. It's someone that feels the chum. Then he says in the final seif over here, Loi niskana haftoida in brachas, el acha shekara b'toida v'brachas kava kriyim maruyim. Avul am nimsa kosel b'sefer toida, b'Shabbos pshuta, afilu b'shvi, v'lohoy sefer toida acher, v'lochen lebeirach acharayna, because it turned out to be puzzle. V'chen kishmartirin v'chayvus hayayim, afilu nimsa b'mafte, Azai ein mevachim birchas av Torah, el arme moisa b'loi brachas. Ava b'Shabbos pshuta, im la'acha shekaru shiva kruyim, brachas, nimsa apsul, hein b'kruyim she'esifu hein b'mafta, nira diyesh rikas av Torah, and it means to say, because even though they're not going to call up someone for mafta, because they were yaitz already with and they don't take out another sefer Torah, so maybe then you could do it. Okay, just want to mention that tonight we start the same Tal Umota Luvrochim. I once told a story that there was a Yid in Washington Heights that he called his wife and he told her that this night I'm going to be home 2 seconds later. They were very pinked of the people. So she asked him, what happened? So he said, because of the same bracha, I have to say the same Tal Umot Luvrocha. I'll be on 2 seconds later. But the halacha is, as I mentioned, Shabbos, that if you forgot to say it, and it's very possible that you could forget it, especially the first 30 days, so then you could either say it in Shema Koleinu, or if you missed saying it in Shema Koleinu, you could say it, you can go back to the same bracha, to Baruch Aleinu, and if you said the entire Shemon Esrei and you didn't say it, so then you could have to repeat the entire Shemon Esrei. And I once showed already in Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch that there's an eitzah how to avoid this problem, even though the Alter Rebbe is not very much in favor of it, but he mentions it, that there is a din by a shur, that if a shur gauze, so the first time is a tam, the second time he's a tam, the third time he's a mu'ud. So there's a question in the Gemara, that's called, what happens if he gored 3 times, but 3 times all in one day? So the Gemara says, that's how we paskin. Richig nigichaysev is chayev, is kirev nigichaysev alachas kama v'kama. Some want to say, no, the trade only chapt on Mishigasta, the Mshar. And we say, no, the richig nigichaysev chayev, kirev nigichaysev kama v'kama. So they want to say, what's the idea of 30 days? Because after 30 days, you were saying it already 90 times. But maybe you become accustomed to it. Once you become accustomed to it, it becomes habitual. So V is if someone will say 90 times, Ves kol mina twas, not just with Saint Almodo. Ves kol mina twas l'toiv with Saint Almodo l'bracha. So
does a guy like me say to say it twice extra every day? I say it twice extra every day.
Well, okay.
My numbers question, do I have to wait 30 days or not?
Well, it's still after. So you have to say nachanam. So that will be considered like saying it 30 days, and V'meli you wouldn't have to repeat the Shmoneh Esrei.
Oh, you wouldn't have to?
No. That's what the Rebbe says in Shulchan Aruch. Let me just
So I
see.
don't have to wait 30 days then?
Let me see if I
I
can.
felt in India, my
There is a
20 days.
some cipher that wants to say that you need more than 90 days because there's in Musaf, in 90 days you have Shabbos.
30 days.
And in 30 days, so you have more than 90 tefillas. You have Shabbos also. But we pass the Rebbe says 90 days.
30 days.
90 times.
90 times.
1 minute right over here. Let's see if I find it.
Where does the number 90 come from? Anything special?
It comes to 30 days, it turns out to 90, but it's nearly not 90. It's
Why
like
30 days? Maybe 20 days? Why 30?
Over here, the Alter Rebbe says in סימן ק"ד, he says as follows: Im b'yom rishon shel Pesach, oimer birchas ata giver, ad meired atol, ve'ad bechal, oy b'medinas ilu ad mechal kachayim, ve'ad bechal b'loy meired ageshem, sadik ba'omer 90 times, harei nesraga l'shoynei loymer berav Leishia Meired Atol, Verav Leishia Mechal Kachayim, that's without it, is Ke'ilu Oma Kain Lamed Yoim, She Belamed Yoim Mimois Achol, Gam Ken Ema Ela Tzadik Pomim, Gimel Pomim, Bechol Yoim, and V'mel Hogel Kishoim Mefuzarim, Kavachoyme b'retzufim. V'fichach and machakach ein zoiche im hiskara geshem. The Alter Rebbe is talking over here according to the Shita that doesn't say murdered at all. You should know. We say murdered at all, but over here he's talking about the only say mashal. So ein maske murdered chazaka shloi iskira ve'ein tzorach lachzo. V'cheinem v'shmini atzeres ein tzadik bam atagiba u'murdered ageshem. Ba'ad b'chal, b'chakat l'stapik, im hiska geshem, is chazak asher skira v'yesh cholken al zeh, he says, v'toiv lochash l'devrayim, l'chatchila, shloi lasses kein lismach al zeh, avo, in parentheses says, im osa kein, b'chakat l'stapik, im iskira, ein tzorach lachzor, boy, kein ika. Okay?